Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dr. Stacy's Q&A Health and Wellness Seminar. As you can see, Dr. Stacy is not here. She's in Pennsylvania working with some of the team up there. So Gary Humberg, Superman, is joining us tonight, and I'm very excited and very honored that Gary is here with us. Gary, introduce yourself. We got a lot of guests on here tonight. Let them know who you are.
Sure. I'm Gary Homburg, Tampa, Florida. Been with Lifeway for 3 years plus, and I'm thrilled that Dr. Stacy actually asked me to come on in her place because you and I know those are very big shoes. Yeah, very big shoes. So I think I'm up to the task. I've learned a bunch along the way. I'm still learning, believe it or not. And this has been an amazing journey for us, like nothing I ever would have expected, in so many ways. And the ladies that are on tonight, I've gotten to know both of them very well. Jackie's my cousin, so my mother and my aunt are, I know, looking down from heaven, said, "Oh my God."
Oh, I did not know that. How did I not know that?
Oh,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
cousin.
Well,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Well, we're excited you're here, and I'm honored to be the one that gets to sit and be with you tonight. And I'm very graced by your friendship and the things that you do for so many people. For those of you who are guests tonight, let me introduce myself. My name is Laura Balzer. I'm a senior presidential director as well, and have been a part of Lifeway for a little over 3 years. And just like Gary was sharing, it's really been one of the most incredible things. Number one, the technology using that, but able to help so many people. So before we get started here this evening, I want to take a little time and remind our guests, as well as people who continue to come and be with us, the information that we're going to share here with you this evening is for educational purposes only. We have many doctors and practitioners and PAs, and the list goes on and on of the doctors and practitioners that we have amongst our teams. But I do want to remind you, we are not your doctors, or they are not your doctors. So we always want you to seek the advice of your practitioner. Let them know what you've got going on here. They might find it extremely interested. But then again, we have our pregnant and nursing mothers. We also want you to take the time and let your practitioners know what you're embarking on, and act always accordingly to their advice as well. So with that said, I am going to turn this over to Mr. Humberg, Superman, and I am going to let him introduce his first guest. And Gary, you have the floor, sir.
Okay, but before I start, I just want to say one thing, that I had the pleasure of being on the cruise with you and a lot of other people. Tina was on there, and it was an amazing cruise. And I just want to say, for those people that are out there, that if they have never seen you, Laura Balzer, in person, they have no idea how beautiful and glowing your skin is.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know what your age is. I'm not going to say it, but you're a good 20 to 25 years or so beyond south of that. And I even said to you, I said, "Laura, what are you doing? You're just glowing." So I just want to get that out there first. And I want to again thank Dr. Stacy for all that she's done for me, for my team, and so many people that it's just incredible. You and I know that what an incredible woman, leader, mom, wife. She's got the whole 9 yards. So it's a thrill. So thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely.
So that brings me to our first guest. That's Jackie Lambert. Golly, I've known Jackie all of her life. I even knew when she was born. I'm a few years faster. And so she was in another business. And I reached out to her about this as a possible something that could help, hey, work for her. And maybe I had no idea what was going on in her life. You look at her, beautiful young lady, everything must be perfect. And I could not be further from the truth. So tell us how you got started, what was like before, and all that good stuff.
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here tonight. So Gary and I, yeah, yes, being relatives, we really didn't have much to do with each other's lives because he lived in Florida and I'm in Maryland. And every now and then, thank golly for social media, I'd get a text from him. And one night I got a text from Gary about this little sticker that would work magic in my life. And I'm fairly open-minded to a lot of things. So I was curious, and Laura, you touched on it last week. Prevention, prevention, prevention. And Gary had no idea what was going on in my life. Thank God. I thank him every day. I am healthy. I'm 56 this year. I'm not on medications. I'm not in doctor's offices. I have no desire to be in doctor's offices. What was wrong with me at the time when I saw this little sticker and I said, I'll give it a try, was that I had chronic low back pain. I had my babies late in life. I had them at 40 and 41, right back to back. And I could not get over the back pain from my last birth. And I would take about 1,000 milligrams of Motrin a day just to get out of the house, knowing full well that Motrin was horrible for me, but I would take nothing stronger. And that morning I woke up and I put that little patch on, and within a half an hour, I didn't have to take the pain medicine, the Motrin. And I thought that there must be something to this little patch. So I called him from work that day and said, sign me up. And the more I learned about the product and the company and what it stands for and everything that David Schmidt wants for us as the human race to live long and live healthy, that is why I remain on this product and I will never be without it. So it's, for me, like you mentioned last week, prevention. So I'm grateful I don't have a story of recovery like many have, but it's a miracle for anyone who does have that. But for me, I want to get into my old years healthier and stronger, and I really feel by wearing this product, it can help me do that. And that's why I continue to use it. I started with X39 alone. And then, to be perfectly honest with you, it was in the crux of the pandemic. And I didn't think my life was tanking, but my life and my mood and everything around me was tanking, and I wasn't handling it as well as I thought I could or should be. And again, I don't medicate. So it was recommended that I start wearing the Eon patch. So I started wearing that behind my right ear every day, and that helped me tremendously. I had two little ones at home, 10 and 11-year-old daughters, and the world was just upside down and I wasn't handling it well. So I was doing X39 and Eon for a while until I added X49. So that's my cocktail every day: X39, X49, and Eon. And then every now and then when they have a good sale, I get all the other fun stuff, but they're my go-to patches.
So officially a one patch wonder,
Yeah, it's officially a one patch wonder.
you
I,
know?
I couldn't believe it when I put it on that day that within 30 minutes I left the house and I wasn't in pain. And it wasn't it's such excruciating pain that I couldn't go on with my life. But when everything's working well and you have a nagging pain, it's enough to make your world not so happy and not so well. So for me, it was, I called you that day and I was like, sign me up. I want more. Because Gary had sent me a sample.
I love that. I love that.
And she's a busy volleyball mom. She left that out. I mean,
Busy.
they go to Florida, they travel, and so she keeps really busy. But when I heard the number of Motrin she was taking, so I guess when you have pain like that, or the possibility of things being deteriorated over time, liver and whatever else, no pain or have that kind of those things going on, I guess no pain wins out.
Right. And, Gary and I are being related. His mother and father lived long lives. My parents passed young. My mother died at 61 of lung cancer, and my father died shortly behind her. I didn't have a good example of, if you look at your parents and you think, oh, how am I going to age? What am I going to look like at 50? Or, when am I going to start getting gray? When are my wrinkles going to come in? So I didn't really have a good example to reflect. But I'm 56 and I want to live to 106. So, and I want to do it well. And I want to be able to move. And my kids are, like I said, now they're 15 and 14. So I'm an older mom and I want to be around for them and their kids and live a good long life and with good genes. I got Superman
Gary,
genes in me.
when Jackie dropped on tonight, I told her that again. I always find it so interesting when people go, "Oh, I started this patch and I really didn't have anything going on," and then all of a sudden they start figuring out all the things they've got going on, right? Because we get used to that new normal. Like all of us have a new normal phase. But Gary, I told her that she looks totally different from when she started the patches. Would you not agree?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, without a doubt.
I was surprised. Someone had asked me to take a because and I've had some people that I do this as a business as well, and I've had some people call me and say, I've been on it for 6 months, and it's really not doing it for me, so I'm gonna stop. And that's the first thing I tell them. I remind them that all these things are going on inside. You just can't feel it, like you can't feel your hair grow. And I talk to them, but I ask them, please take a picture of yourself from 6 months ago and compare it to yourself now. I ended up doing it for myself because someone had asked me, have you compared? And I'm like, oh no, there can't be a difference. And I was shocked. I was shocked. My weight is exactly the same, but the inflammation in my face, you can really see a huge difference. I was floored. So now, along with Superman's pictures, I put my picture on my vending tables. Because it's live and in person. Because you can show pictures. I show Marcy's picture, Superman's picture, but I guess if they can't see it, feel it, and touch it, and think, oh, you're just joshing me, or that's photoshopped. But it's amazing. So if it's doing those things on the outside, I tell everyone, just imagine what it could do for the inside.
Yeah,
It's working. As soon as you put it on, it works.
that's amazing.
I was in Sarasota, must have been 2.5 years ago, or maybe it was 3, not sure which. And I heard with my own ears David Schmidt say 2 things I'll never forget. One, he believes that we could live to be 250 and not look it or feel it. And the other was that he didn't take credit for this incredible discovery, that he's simply the vessel that God used. And I share that all the time. I'm simply the messenger bringing what's being delivered by God himself. And this is the greatest health and wellness product I have ever seen.
And can I just throw 2 things out there real quick? I wear it behind my right ear because someone told me it's closest to the blood-brain barrier. So that's where you should wear the patch for anxiety, depression, moods. And then someone asked, does anyone use the patch for POTS? I do have a gentleman who specifically got the patch from me last June for his daughter who has POTS. And he said for 2 years she laid in bed and he put the X39 and Eon on her. And 2 days later, she came out of the room and told him she was going to go to the gym for the first time in 2 years. And he was stunned.
Wow.
And I had never heard what POTS was. I had never heard that term. So,
Wow. Jackie, thank you for answering that. That's amazing that you did that. Thank you.
Laura, disclaimer.
Disclaimer? We're
Okay.
good.
Oh, okay. We don't mention that, or
We're good. We're
okay.
fine.
All right.
Everybody's
Good.
So Jackie, I want to ask you one question that, I love that you're talking prevention, right? But pain is debilitating.
yes.
Pain is exhausting. And not only on top of the pain, your life obviously had a lot of things going on. So I love that you brought up this whole mind, body, spirit thing, because it's all encompassing to our health and our well-being.
Absolutely.
So if you were to compare then to now, how would you compare the 2 states?
Markedly better. Markedly. I can't say that I don't. We all have emotions and we all have things that we're going through. I wake up every day grateful. I wake up every day mindful of the things that I may not be grateful for is something that someone else is yearning to have. So I'm very grateful for absolutely everything, but it's tremendously different. I am always very happy. I always used to say I get high on sunshine. That's just the way that I am. And that irritates some people, and I'm a morning person. So yeah, it's definitely tremendous difference, and you wouldn't think that it would be, but it is. And yes, the pain can be very debilitating. And what you made me think of, and I'm sorry I'm stuttering, is that, I mean, I grew up with parents who smoked and drank, so the example wasn't good enough. My father had chronic heart disease. So I always was mindful, I don't want to grow up like that. I hope that's not my destiny in life, just because perhaps my parents have it. So I've always been into nutrition and prevention. So I was very open-minded when I got this product presented to me.
I love that. So you would say it's just like another tool in your toolbox to the prevention of the things that you are
100%. You take your multivitamin in the morning, you slap on a patch, and you go about your day.
I love that.
Just
Gary, do you have
another
any
tool.
other questions for Jackie?
No, it's just glad to see her. Looking forward to staying on the journey. And I'm thrilled that she's on tonight. And again, one patch wonder. I love it.
I tell you, family helping family. It doesn't get any better than that, right?
No.
All right. So Jackie, thank you. You're going to
Thank
have to
you.
come back. We always tell people to please come back and share, because it's just only going to get better.
I
So,
will.
and maybe we can share your pictures next time.
I will.
Right. Okay. All right. So Gary, I'm going to queue up Miss Tina,
Oh, gosh. Oh,
and Tina, you're going to be up here with Superman, and I can't wait to hear your testimony.
oh my goodness. Well, in this line of work, you get to meet, people from all walks of life, and Charlene, can't think of the last name, Charlene Cole, and now she's married. But she came on board and she shared this with Tina. And Tina is officially the Diamond Queen on our team with the number of people that she's helped with the product. But just an amazing woman. I can't say enough as far as what energy, integrity, effervescence, always a beautiful smile, gifted God. She goes to Zooms for Bible studies. Hey, I got to go. I got a Bible study. I don't know of anyone that in the last, I'm going to say year, who had to get off of something because they had to get on a Zoom Bible study. I mean, I love to say, hey, I'm there. No, I mean, I do read, the word, and I believe it's beneficial for all of us, but I've never said, listen, I got to Zoom, I got to be at. And Tina's done that quite often. So she's a child of God and a hard worker, and her mom and her have quite a restaurant business in Kansas City. So how'd you find out? What did it do? How's it now?
Well, thank you for asking, Superman Gary. And I'm so grateful for you, because of you. You've helped me bless and help a lot of people. And so June 30th is my anchor day, my answer to prayer. Because prior to June 30th, my hair was falling out. You could see my scalp. My stomach was bloated. I had a little Buddha belly. My feet, I was working about 10, 12, 14 hours a day. My mom has a little Chinese restaurant called Tao Tao. We're in Kansas City, Kansas. She's a senior citizen. She's 77 years old. Her day starts at 10 o'clock and it ends between 2 and 4 a.m. And in our family, we have Alzheimer's and dementia. Like, that's in our yikes. So I want to do everything to protect my brain, her brain, and live as long as possible. But what happened on the day of June 30th, these were the healthy practices that I had. Celery juice every morning, chiropractor twice a week, acupuncturist once a week, foot reflex. The reason I was seeing a foot reflexology 3 times a week, because after a 12-hour shift, my feet, from standing all day, I would be in pain and my feet would swell up. And so if I wasn't going to the foot reflexologist, I was having an Epsom salt bath. So I am a health nut. My grandma was a Buddhist monk. I've grown up around Chinese medicine. In my family, they call me Dr. Tina. They don't go to the doctors. They're like, Tina, I've got this going on. What do I need to do? So anyways, on June 30th, when I booked that appointment for Charlene, I was desperate because my chiropractor went out of town for 3 weeks. And I was like, oh my gosh, who's going to help me, with my body because my aches and pains. So I booked a meeting, a appointment with Charlene. And I remember sitting on the steps outside, and I hadn't seen her since she got married 6 months prior. So this sports car drives by with this good looking redheaded woman, and she comes out of the car, and I'm like, whoa, what happened? This is like a voluptuous, curvy redhead, 30, 40 pounds lighter. She looked like her face had thinned out. And I was like, wow, I didn't say anything because when you're in pain, it was like, it's all about me. I need all those 90 minutes for myself. So here I am on the table face down, boo-hooing, because I always have a happy face. If you're friends with me on Facebook, it's like I'm talking about my mom's restaurant, Jesus, it's just positive. Not unless you're like a really close friend, do you know what's like really going on? So while I'm on that table for 90 minutes, I said, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to begin, Charlene. I'm having insomnia. I have gas. I fart all the time. I'm bloated. My feet is swollen up. I have bleeding gums. My hair is falling out. I says, when I go to bed at night, I'm scared. I went down to washing my hair once a week because I would wake up in the morning and there'd be a pile of hair there. There'd be a pile of hair from my bed all the way to the bathroom. I'm like, so you would see my hair in a ponytail and a ball cap because, my mom is a Chinese woman and she notices a zit on my face. And so she's one of those people that smells your hair and like, ooh, anyways, I have a really cute Chinese mom. She's the hardest working woman. But anyways, so here it is, June 30th. I get off the counter at the thing and I said, Charlene, I need you to ask your mom and dad. Her mom and dad are preachers. I said, please ask your mom and dad and you to pray for me. I said, I am desperate. I cannot believe I'm 53 years old and flipping falling apart. I have done every health thing, that good natural thing my whole life. It shouldn't be this way. I need help. And Charlene's a very, where I'm big and loud and boisterous, she's very meek and quiet and soft-spoken. She says, Tina, I have something that could help you. You do? And so she turns around and she points to her patch and she had all over. And I said, what's that? And then she hands me a white envelope. She says, Tina, I had no idea that you were going through all that. I'm going to give this envelope to you. And I'm going to, and then what? She says, well, open it. So it was a round Band-Aid thing. I says, well, what did it do for you? Well, I already know because she looks so good on the outside. So I said, so what did it do for you? She says, well, Tina, I had migraine headaches. I've had migraine headaches for years of my life. And I take all these Advils and Tylenol. And I was like, oh my God, Charlene, that's terrible for your liver. Yikes. And she says, by the time I get done working on these football players, I am just bottled up in pain because they're 300 pounds and, I'm working on them for 90 minutes and I'm just, by the time I'm done working, I'm exhausted. She says, I've only been married 6 months and I told my new husband, I need a new career. I think after 27 years of being a massage therapist, I need to do something different. I says, well, Charlene, she says, now, Tina, there's something you need to do. I says, well, what do I need to do? Because I said, Charlene, you look so hot. You look so good. You look so skinny. And I'm fat and bloated and overweight right now. I'm like 15 pounds heavier than I want to be. I used to be 120. I've got all this clothes in my closet I can't even fit into. Everything's elastic or leggings. And I said, how long did it take for you to do that? She says, well, I don't do anything. I just wear these patches and I just keep on shedding little time. I says, how many can of those can I wear in a day? You know, okay. So it helped you lose weight. It helped you get rid of your migraine headaches, and you're skinny now and you look amazing. You look 15 years younger. I said, you know what? So anyway, she says, I'm giving this to you, but here's what you got to do. You got to follow directions, and you cannot say, I have a request of you. You talk a lot, Tina, and I don't want you to tell anybody. She says, I didn't tell anybody for 3 months. Me and my husband, we just used it every day. I said, Charlene, so you want me to follow directions? That's going to be really hard. Because I'm not good at following directions. So what do I need to do? She says, well, when you get up in the morning and brush your teeth, you got to put it on. And then when you go to bed at night and brush your teeth, you got to take it off. And that, wear it about 12 hours. And I said, anything else? She's like, well, drink lots of water. So half your body weight in water. I said, oh my God, I'm nearly 140 pounds. That's like 70 ounces of water. That's a lot of water. I said, okay, so you drink water. What else? She's like, well, if you take a good vitamin mineral supplement, that just kind of speeds it along. So all I'm thinking about is like, ooh, speed it along. I could get skinnier and younger faster. Okay. So anyway, she gives me the patches. I don't say anything. And I go to work at the restaurant. Now, my mom and I, next to Jesus, she's like my very best friend in the whole wide universe. She notices everything. So usually after a big, long day at Tao at work, I am so exhausted and in a grumpy mood, and my feet is swollen and blah, blah, blah. And my mom says, why are you in such a good mood? This is like the second day. And then the third day, I said, Mom, I didn't tell her right away because Charlene said, don't say anything. So she thought I got back with my boyfriend, or that I was smoking pot, which I don't even smoke pot, or taking gummies or doing something like that. She's like, what happened? How come you're so happy? And I didn't say nothing. And I called Charlene. It was July 4th. It was my day off. And I remember driving to the Elms Hotel, and I called Charlene. I said, Charlene, I have had a miracle. Yeah, what's that? I said, my feet have been so swollen and hurting so bad that I spend $600 a month, 3 times a week, $50 a pop for a foot reflexologist. My feet have not swelled up since I've worn the patches. I don't have to wear a shoe size bigger. I am happy. I said, do these patches make you happy? I said, because I'm happy, I'm clear-headed, I feel so good, and my feet are not swollen up. I said, Tina,
I got to interrupt you because the chat is blowing up because we need to answer this question before you go. You're just using the X39 right now, correct? Okay, I just wanted to get that straight because the chat's like blowing up. What is she using? What is she doing? Where is she going? Right? So
I use the
okay.
X39. I use the X39 from June 30th, my day at Charlene's office at 9 a.m., all the way until the national convention at LifeWave. And then at LifeWave, at the convention, I got introduced to Eon. And my whole life, I have suffered with depression. I know you can't tell that right now, but
good.
but I was on Wellbutrin when I was younger. And then I switched to Luminex, a natural depression medication. And since I've been on the patches, zero depression medication, zero. And I wear the Eon every day. So one day I was in a grumpy mood. I was in tears. Someone totally pissed me off. And my Charlene, she says, Tina, she hugs me. She says, you're going to be all right, honey. And she pulls out of her purse an Eon, and she stuck it behind my right ear. And I've been sticking that patch behind my right ear forever, because you will be, well, you can't say that word, but you'll be happy. It's like you're in love Like you have like that feeling when you're in love and you just met that man that just floats your boat. So, you know, you're just happy all the time. So anyway, that's one thing. So anyways, I was so excited about my feet and all the good things that happened. I wind up sharing my heart out to the people in my life. And all of a sudden, I was like giving patches away and telling people what happened. They're like, how do you get this stuff? I want some of that. And so I'll never forget one day, and it just still brings me to tears. I mean, our oldest customer, well, one of my customers, he's 84. And he says, you know, my whole life I've gotten up in the middle of the night to pee. And I don't know what's in this thing, but Tina, my whole adult life, I'm 84. I've gone up in the middle of the night to pee around 2 o'clock in the morning, can't fall back asleep. And ever since you gave me these patches, I am sleeping straight through. In fact, I slept all the way till 8 in the morning. Donna thought I died because, you know, I've never slept that long in my whole life. And I've had people tell me that they quit. I had an alcoholic, someone who's drinks alcohol, drank Jack Daniels and Coke at 10 in the morning until she fell asleep. She says she came down to the restaurant to get a set of patches. And she said, after 8 days, she says, Tina, do these patches make you want to quit drinking? She says, now when I take a drink of Jack Daniels, it just tastes like, you know, I just spit it out. It's so gross. And I've had people who smoke cigarettes. They're calling, you know, they're telling me they went from 2 packs to 1 pack to no cigarettes. And they've tried everything. They've tried nicotine patch. They tried nothing works. But anyways, I'll be using this the rest of my life. This is me, skinny Tina, not bloated Tina. I've got hair now. And these young 30, I'm single, okay? I don't have a man in my life. And these like young guys, they like are hitting on me. And then I have to tell them I could be your mother. I could be your mama. So one of the side benefits of wearing X39 all the time is you look younger. It's gotten to the point where I don't even need to put a patch on anyone. There are people who haven't seen me in a year, in 6 months. I went to Florida. I had given my Japanese mom a whole month of patches. And every few weeks I would say, Lulu, did you open the envelope yet that I sent you? Did you watch that video? She says, no. Well, she picked me up at the cruise ship and she was flabbergasted. She's like, oh my gosh. She wound up putting her 77-year-old husband and her on these patches. And now she faithfully uses them every day. But for 6 months, I'd given them to her. I'd call her every day. You got them? You got them? Nope. But then when she saw me, so nowadays, I just, I'm floored because LifeWave sends you a thank you check for opening your mouth and sharing with people a way to get healthy and well without drugs, without medication, without getting cut up. You can get well with this X39 patch. It's changed my life. I'm always going to use it for the rest of my life, always. And now I use at night. Yesterday I got on a Zoom meeting. I stuck an aloe vera patch on my pineal gland. I stuck a silent night. They have a patch for people who can't sleep. And if your pineal, if you want to have vivid dreams and be very good, like if you're a writer or a creative person and you want to have vivid dreams, then put the aloe vera there. Anyways, I love all their products. I use all of it. I look like I have chicken pox. I got so many patches all over my body. So anyways, that's my story, you guys. Woo! That's my story.
Wow. That's amazing. So hold on. So your hair grew, your feet got better, you lost weight, skin got better, energy got better, outlook got better. Anything I'm missing?
Yes. I forgot to tell you about my 77-year-old mother. My mother, last year, our life was so bad. It was hell on earth. There was so many bad, like stress. I made my mom famous. So we have a Chinese restaurant in Wyandotte County. So look up Wyandotte County. But anyways, we have a restaurant in Kansas City, Kansas. And we've been there 52 years. So my mom is like, you know, she's like part of that community. She's a Chinese Black woman, and they love my mom. But anyways, my mom last year would be pinching me, kicking me, calling me Chinese words that I didn't even know what they were, and having to call my friends and family in Chicago to say, what did my mom just say about me? And then she was throwing the walk handles and crying and just pitching a fit. And I was like, oh my God, dementia has kicked in. We're going to have to sell this restaurant. Well, then I started reading about X39 and X49 for old people. I was like, so I stick that on her every single day. I have got my mom back. She's got her humor back. If you go on my Facebook, you'll see pictures of my mom, Tina Durr. And we just had a party. She just cooked for 16 people on her day off. And she's happy. Her face is full. In fact, this guy that has a crush on me at the restaurant called me and he says, Tina, he says, he called me and I thought, oh my God, why is he calling me? And he says, Tina, I saw your mom outside of the restaurant. I said, yeah, and what happened? Is she okay? She says, Annie looks like she's 20 years younger. What is she doing?
Yeah.
I said, now come on, Jerome. You need hip surgery, knee surgery. For a year, I've been telling you about that X39. You don't listen. And now look at you. I said, what do you think my mom is doing? What do you think? The patches? Yes, you need to get on the patches. He says, Tina, I don't have a job now, but as soon as I get one, I'm getting on those patches. So there you go. That's it.
Well, woo! I tell you, everybody is loving you. You're going to have fan field around you. They love your energy, right? And so, Gary, I have a question. And Tina, real short, answer this for me. How long have you been using the patches altogether?
I have been using them 12 months, 27 days, and 7 hours and 41 seconds.
Oh, Lord, no one has ever answered it that way before.
I love these patches. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you
Wow,
know
wow,
what?
wow.
There's a day that I met Jesus. I remember that day. There's the day, you know, there's certain dates that you're going to remember the rest of your life. And June 30th of 2023 and Charlene, it was my patch day that God used Charlene to answer my prayer through a little round Band-Aid thing that changed my life. To this day, I can't explain the science and technology of how it works, but I can send you David Schmidt's video and you can find out.
No, that's amazing.
Proof that this works.
That's amazing. Gary, I know you invited Tina on. You know this woman's incredible testimony. I think you have engulfed everybody on here in such a positive way. Both of you ladies have, but Tina, you're about ready to come through the screen. And I know that there's many 53-year-old people and older that would do anything for that energy, for that brightness, that just everything that you exude. And gosh, Gary, if you haven't invited her on here or have invited her on here, I don't know that anybody would have ever experienced this. I think it's amazing.
Well, when she talked about Charlene Cole, and I remember Charlene's before and after picture, and it was just like, oh my gosh. And when people would sign up, when they would see her, like Tina said, like, what happened to you? It was such a noticeable difference. I think the one thing we left off of Tina's checklist was energy. Okay. I mean, energy has got to have gotten better, must have gotten better.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And she's like this all the time as far as what she does. I'm thrilled to be around her. Just the effervescent lightning bug of hope and prayer and goodwill.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Tina, thank you for being on. I know you touched a lot of people.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you all. I hope all of you try the patches. Be curious. Just stick it on and let it do its thing. You'll love the results.
I love that. I love that. You know, Gary, I think the great thing about this is this all started with you. And I think that's just such a really cool thing about this, is that, you know, we reach out to a family member, and then from a family member, it goes to somebody else because somebody's curious about the result or sees a difference in somebody. Or like Jackie spoke about, prevention. You know, she saw things maybe in her parents that she wants to do everything in her power with nutrition and a good lifestyle, and then adds this tool to her toolbox for different reasons, right? So we have two women, relatively the same age, but obviously experiencing two different things. And you and I see this every day, right?
Oh, yeah, day after day, the changes that take place in people is just amazing. And just to piggyback on Tina, the X39 was all that Barbara and I wore for the first 9 months. And the truth of the matter is that's all we could afford. I mean, really, back when we got started, you know, things were a whole lot different than they are today, thank God. But financially, that was really it. And then we added other patches, and it only continued to make believers out of us. And as our income grew, you know, if you know what they do and your health's important and you can afford it, why wouldn't you? And that's what we've done, and it's just been incredible to see the difference. I was showing a guy today, Kansas City, when we were there, and it was a room full of people, and I said to him, I said, this started with one patch. All of these people started when Charlene Cole 3 months later got results and shared it and shared it. And today she's up in Pennsylvania sharing it
With
with
Dr. Stacy.
Yeah, with Dr. Stacy, you know, doing, and they're quite, you know, the team together. And that's what we do. We share it with people that we may know, or I share it with people that if they get within 3 feet, I say, hey, you know what this is? And you know, they'll always know I don't know what that is. And we try to help because there's nothing like it on the planet.
You know, you're right. And I think tonight, and when we get together and share these stories and these testimonies and explain how this works, it starts in places like this. And for our guest here tonight, you're here for the same reasons that these ladies ended up getting started on this patch. Was somebody thought of you because they thought that it could help in one way or another. So Gary, if I have your permission, I'm going to jump in here and share a little bit how this wearable light technology, because they're seeing it all over all of us, and they're probably wondering, shall I go?
Yes, ma'am. Great idea. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So you guys, again, Gary and I are so excited that you're here. And I do want to take an opportunity, sorry, my screen's jumping a little bit, to share with you what this wearable light technology and how it works. So I have mine right here. I'm going to take it off my chest. You guys, this is what we're speaking of. This is wearable light technology. It is a patch. You know, I've been in the health and wellness industry for 5 decades now, and I have never in my life come across a tool that I could add to my daily routine, but offer it to other people because the vastness of it. So this patch, though, is a little different than what I think a lot of us are used to when we hear the word patch. Patches that we have maybe experienced or even used ourselves is a transdermal patch. This is a patch that has a chemical or an herb or substance on there that when we place the patch on our skin, it penetrates through the skin or through the dermis, enters the body, and goes to work doing the things that it's said it's going to do. Whether that's a, you know, let's quit smoking patch, lose weight, balance your hormones, pain. All these patches have a solution of some type that's entering the body. And sometimes we don't know what that is made out of or understand what that solution is made out of. This patch here is non-transdermal, you guys, meaning nothing is going into your body. Absolutely nothing. And as you can see, it's very sticky on one side, very smooth on the other, right? You saw me take it off my chest. I'm putting it right back on my chest, right? So if there's nothing on the patch that can enter my body, how on God's green earth does it work? Well, if you'll notice in the center of the patch, there's a little white piece of gauze. And within this gauze, there is a blend of nanocrystals, molecules, okay, organic matter consisting of organic amino acids, water, sugar crystals, and oxygen. Now, I know they sound familiar, like things that you might find in your kitchen. However, they are not. These are things found in David Schmidt's lab, our inventor, our scientist, and our CEO behind this technology. And when these molecules come together, they form what we like to call in the field a crystal lattice structure. It's just a weave, you guys. Don't think too much about it. It's just a tight weave. And it's this weave that becomes reflective right here in the center of this patch. So I want you to think of a mirror. So when I take this patch and place it on my body is a energy source. If you were to put your hand on your chest, you would feel the warmth coming off your body. We are low levels of infrared light or heat. We're always emitting. You can't see it unless you have infrared goggles on, right? But it's always permeating off our body, anywhere between 2 to 4 inches. And if you notice, when I put this patch on, I didn't have lightning sparks come off my body. But what did happen that you didn't see is the heat or light that I'm reflecting out bounced off the center of this patch and came back towards my body in a very specific wavelength of light. And it's this wavelength of light that instructs my body to elevate a peptide in which we were born with called GHKCU, or GHK copper peptide. Now, you guys, a lot of us didn't even know this peptide existed. It was discovered about 53 years ago by the gentleman by the name of Laura Balzer. I encourage you, when you come off of here tonight, Google, go to PubMed and Google GHKCU and look and read the list that this peptide is responsible for. It's responsible for the repairing of neurological issues, cardiovascular issues, your skin. You saw these ladies on here tonight. You see Gary. Gary is 72. Gary, I told on you, right? It's amazing. And he didn't want to share my age with you. I am 61, right? But it's also responsible for so many other things. And this is a peptide that we use, that we are born with. But just like everything else, as time goes on, it begins to decline. So when we raise that peptide, we give our bodies the ability to start taking care of itself again. And one of the things that that peptide does when we elevate it is instruct our bodies to wake up and mobilize and stimulate our master cells in our body, the cells that are responsible for rejuvenating and regenerating and getting to the root of the problems that sometimes we don't even know that we have. Jackie was a perfect example of that. Hey, I'm on this thing for preventative measures. Well, the next thing you know, her back pain's gone. She wasn't thinking about that because she had gotten used to experiencing it. So her thing was, it just is. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to just deal with this, right? But when we have the ability to give our bodies, to put our bodies in a state of a healthier, younger expression, then we're able to reverse the functionality of our organs, our tissue, our vascular systems. Now, you saw how easy this was to put on. Tina told you. Charlene said, stick it on in the morning when you brush your teeth, take it off 12 hours later when you brush your teeth, throw it away and put a brand new one on in the next morning. but I want you to really see some of the things that this does. Did you know that every 6 weeks of using this patch, the heart starts functioning 8 weeks younger? The vascular systems, the vascular functionality of a person's body will start functioning 8 weeks younger. Oh my gosh, who doesn't want that with heart disease being the #1 killer? Now, I kind of told on everybody tonight, everybody's ages, right? And I want you to know the things that I'm sharing with you tonight. We have over 90 clinical studies that show these things are happening. None of us certainly would be on here sharing things with you that aren't proven through our clinical studies, as well as over the 150 patents that David Schmidt has. I'm going to have one of my lovely associates drop in the chat here a website that you can go to see the clinical studies, see the patents on this product. And please rest assured that there is no placebo effect here. Because I know a lot of times when you're talking about mental capabilities and things of that nature, sometimes think, well, you know, they slapped that patch on, and I know they probably were just kind of telling themselves, life's a little better right now. I want you to know that the clinical studies show that there's absolutely zero placebo effect when you put this patch on. Why? Because within seconds of putting this patch on, we're resetting 1/3 of the genes in your body to that healthier, younger expression. And it's that process that ignites the body to mobilize, reinstate, get moving again, those regenerative master cells. So not to bring anybody down, but you know, we're born with an abundant amount of those cells. By the time we're 30, 35, we maybe have half of what we were born with. By the time we're 60, 65, we have used up 80 to 90%. And we have lost the ability for our bodies to get in there, get to the root of the problem, and give the body the opportunity to restore and repair itself. So that's why one of the reasons is, let's go 12 hours on during the day. Let's let the body rest and restore in the evening. Now, there are some patches that you will wear only at night. Tina talked about the Alavita that she put on her head. You want to wear that at night. It's an amazing patch. But like both of these ladies said, when you get back to the person that invited you tonight, because I know you're going to have a million questions, and know that we all work together. So we're going to make sure that all your questions get answered. The places that you want to start for anything that you have going on is the X39, which that's where everybody that you heard speak tonight started. And then the Eon patch, which you heard help both of these ladies with their anxiety and depression and things of that nature. This patch reduces inflammation in the body systemically, meaning throughout. But another thing that it does is it dials you down a little bit, brings that body back into a harmonious state. We like to say a parasympathetic state, right? It just dials you back a little bit. So if any of you, maybe you go to bed at night and you're staring at the ceiling, it's like a ticker tape going on up there. You just can't fall asleep. You can't turn off the monkey mind. If you were to use the Eon patch and place it below your belly button, that would die down a little bit for you. You'd be able to rest and relax and fall asleep, right? So those are the two patches that you want to start with, but you get back with the person that invited you here today. Let them know what you have going on. They're happy to customize for you and get you exactly what you need for yourself, because that's what's most important, and they can customize for you. If they can't get that answer for you, then there's somebody else out here in this amazing team that can help you with that every single step of the way. So I know we had a couple questions in the chat. I want to remind everybody when we're talking about the different patches and things that people have going on, we don't talk about diseases per se. We talk about the systems and the symptoms that are being caused by an imbalance in the body. So I want you to know that this technology is meant and designed to bring the body back in balance, right? The body does not know diagnosis. That is just a word that has been used for a very, very long time to pinpoint that there is something going on. But I want you to understand that things begin with imbalances in the body. And like you heard Jackie say tonight, she is getting a head start in providing her body with a tool that can help her body stay in balance so things don't arise as time goes on. So remember, when you're using these patches, a recommended use is 1 month's use for every decade of life. Now, I've been patching for 3 years. But me just sharing my age of 61, you're probably asking yourself, well, Laura, that's more than 6 months. Why are you continuing to patch? Well, you guys and the other people that spoke tonight, as well as Gary, when you continue to use this patch for lengths of time, you're giving your body the ability to reverse the functionality age of within. So right now, even though my birth certificate says I'm 61, my blood work, my biomarkers tell my practitioners that my body's functioning that of a anywhere between 27 and 30-year-old woman. I don't know about y'all, but sign me up. You saw Tina getting ready to come through the screen. Jackie's over there glowing. Gary's getting younger by the minute. And these are the things that people start to notice from the outside, because whatever's going on in the inside reflects on the outside. So this is the brilliance of a man who brought a product to the world that is really giving people the opportunity to live their best life and have the ability to do the things that they love to do with good health, living well as they continue to get older. Because I want to leave you with something before I turn it over to Gary to close us out. Time is going to go by anyway. We cannot stop time. You have a choice, as we all do. With that time, do you want to continue to degenerate, or do you want to take that time and continue and go down a path of regeneration? The choice is all of ours. I hope that you will get back to that person that invited you. They obviously cared about you, no different than Gary introducing this to his cousin, no different than Charlene offering it to Tina. You have been offered, in our opinion, a gift of well-being and living well. So Gary, I'm going to let you close this out.
Okay, well, thank you for that science and tech. That was very informative, as usual. And I just want to say to anyone out there, this is, in my opinion, a once-in-a-lifetime, not only opportunity. Again, I believe, not because of where I'm at, but from what I've seen over 3 years, incredible recoveries from people that had god awful, like, oh my, how did you live like that? They tried something that I thought sounded too good to be true, and it's changed our life and the lives of these ladies on here, yourself, your husband, and the list just goes on. And whatever's coming next is going to be every bit as amazing. So thank you. Thank you, ladies. Love you both. Love you too.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good night.